So this is everything that I use to make my chicken noodle soup. I do a chicken. You can use like breast fillets or breast tenders. The tenders are a little easier to boil and then to cut up. It's better to use fresh minced garlic, but we use minced garlic for, I feel like, almost every recipe that I have. So I just bought a big one the last time I was at the grocery store because I wanted to make sure it would last. Onion, baby carrots. Regular carrots are just as fine, but we always have baby carrots on hand because Ella likes to snack on them. Celery, 2 big containers of chicken broth, and then I also have some egg noodles. I made this the other day too, but this is the leftover egg noodles that we have. I forget what the brand name is called, but I'll put it on the screen. These are the best, like if you like a home style, like thick noodle, this is what I like to use. These are the typical egg noodles that people like to use for chicken noodle soup. These are all right, like I'll use them if this is the only thing we have on hand, but I prefer like the home style thicker noodle. My mom was checking up on us, all this morning to see if there's anything. I was gonna start cutting stuff up, but I'm gonna get the chicken boiling first. So you need 1 big stock pot that you're gonna do all the veggies in, and you're gonna add the chicken and the broth to eventually. But I need a smaller pot for just the chicken. During Black Friday, I got these stackable pots, which are a really good idea in theory. Right here, they have things to lock themselves in together, but it actually makes it really hard if you're looking for a particular pot to grab it. That didn't feel good just then. This is how we have our pots organized. So those are all stacked up. And then we usually put our saucepans over here. Noah will stack them with the rest of the pots. I think these are all pans for cooking, and he stacks them there, and they're supposed to go over there. That's why it was so hard to get the little one out. I'm gonna get this pot going, boiling some water so that we can put the chicken in and get the chicken cooking. You don't have to boil the chicken separately. This is the way that I've always done it. What I'm gonna do is gonna start cutting out the vegetables. This is a pretty big celery, so I think I'm gonna use 3, and I think that will be plenty. To be honest, I don't usually wash off my vegetables very rigorously, but ever since having the coronavirus issue, I've been washing off my fruits and vegetables a lot. I didn't really think that it was necessary before. Slice the celery up, and then I'll dice it the other way. Hi, honey. I think I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was really hard to get that pot out. I should have waited for you for that. Couldn't get this one out. I think I'm good.
Okay.
It's kind of nice to do something since I was so lazy yesterday. Slice these, and then I'm gonna cut them the other direction. But when my mom came over, dropped stuff off, she just left everything on the porch. I was talking to her through our big window we have in our living room. I always switch in between calling it our living room and our den. Our TV isn't in there, so I don't feel like it should be called a living room. Our fireplace is in there, so I feel like typically dens and stuff like that are usually called like where the fireplace is. But I just diced up all that celery, and I'm gonna do several baby carrots as well. I'm kind of gonna cut them the same way, cut them the long way, and then I'll go back. Just sit. Whenever we have baby carrots out, he always wants some because Noah eats baby carrots every day. Do you eat it with your lunch, or is it like just a snack?
Kind of just a snack.
We try our best not to give him any human food, but if we do, it's usually whole food. Discovered recently that he likes strawberry, but we only give him a very little amount of that. The natural food, but it's still pretty sugary. Apple, cheese, but we give that stuff to him very rarely. The water is not quite to a boil, so we won't do the chicken yet. With chicken noodle soup, you just have to be careful to not do many carrots because I feel like it affects the way that the soup ends up tasting. And it's the same for if you're making like stews or pot roasts or stuff like that. If you put too many carrots, then it has like a really sweet taste to whatever you're making. And for me, I like to separate sweet and savory. Like I'm not a person that likes the sweet and savory combination. That's a mistake that I've made a couple of times where I've done too many carrots. Peeled that. I'll give that a wash off. Nice. We have some onion that we used the other day for cooking, so we use that as well. Noah always does a really good job at FIFOing our food, so that means first in, first out. If you've never worked in the restaurant industry, just a way of making sure that you're using your stuff that you had on hand before you go to using your new stuff. Especially since we're all trying to avoid leaving the house as much as possible, that's really important that you're using what you have on hand before you start using the stuff that you just bought recently. I'm not too particular about how I cut the onion because I like a lot of onion. We use quite a lot. When you cut onion, try not to stand directly on top of it, or else you're gonna get more painful eye irritation. So I try to not cut onion directly over it, but in our area, I don't know if it's the same for everywhere else, but they're really strong, so it's still bothering me. But a lot of the times when we're making soups and stews and stuff, like Noah will help me dice everything up, and he offered to help me today, but I wanted to do it on my own. I literally didn't do anything yesterday. We make a lot of hearty foods, so we make a lot of foods that have a meat and then also a lot of vegetables. Most of the time it's not cooking something, it's the prep work, but this looks good. I think I'm gonna use almost all of the chicken. I'm gonna put the noodles away so they don't defrost all the way. You could drop these in frozen into the soup, so you don't need them to be pre-thawed out. Sorry, I keep losing my train of thought. Chicken in so that can start boiling. Chicken away, wash my hands. I didn't touch the chicken, I used the fork, but just to be sure. What I like to do is to saute my vegetables before I put the chicken in the broth in. You can just throw all this in with broth and then just let it cook that way. I think that if you saute the vegetables, you get more of a flavor to the soup that you're making. Go with me, guys. Sometimes if I'm sauteing something really quickly, I'll use olive oil. For the most part, I use butter. A couple years ago, I was talking to my coworkers and I realized that, like, you know you grow up a certain way and then you think that everybody does something that way. So one of the things that I learned was that not everyone uses butter in everything, because I was talking to them about the amount of butter that I go through. I think we were talking about like when we go to the grocery store and what we buy at the grocery store or whatever, and they were like, you buy that much butter? And I was like, yeah, I use it, like I bake a lot, and then I use it like to coat pans, I use it for sauteing, I use it for butter on toast. These non-stick pans are a lot better, but the old ones that we had to use a lot of butter to make sure the things didn't stick. They were like, you don't use like olive oil or you don't use coconut oil or any of that. And I was like, no, I've just always used butter. This stock pot is finicky. I turned the heat down because this stock pot has burned things before. Butter's in. I'm gonna put the vegetables in. You do, if you're sauteing, do garlic last, because garlic tends to be something that will burn really quickly and it gets really sticky. So you'll want to add the garlic last. Usually at this point, I would kind of like sit down in between while I'm waiting for my chicken or I'm waiting for my vegetables. Getting up and down right now from sitting is difficult, so I think I'm just gonna keep standing. So this is what I basically do. So you can see the chicken is here and it's boiling. And then these are my vegetables. So you can see the butter I put down, and then the vegetables are cooking. I don't know what else you would add to chicken noodle soup. Maybe like peas or corn or something, I don't know. So yeah, for a while there I was cooking a lot with coconut oil. It didn't leave like a coconut flavor to things. It was fine to use, but I don't know, I think I just prefer what I always grew up with was butter with everything. I definitely do try to use less butter when I'm eating things. For instance, I use a lot less butter like mashed potatoes or toast. Oh, that hurt. I think the chicken is done. Just washing it off. It gets really, like when you boil chicken, it gets this kind of like stringy residue. Maybe you can see, I can feel that the vegetables are starting to get stuck. I have to be really careful that this doesn't burn while I'm cutting up the chicken or jabber jawing. Did you hear me cough like a minute ago?
Yeah, you're okay.
Oh, it hurts so bad. I don't know why I coughed. I think I just coughed something in my throat. I hope it's not like a cough, like I'm getting a cough. When we started making the Mizithra and brown butter noodles at home, and we make those things sometimes now. Not too often, especially recently we've been trying to have like meat and vegetables, so like a protein and a vegetable. Something that I also thought growing up was that a meal is a meal if you have meat, a starch, and then like maybe some vegetables. That was kind of something we had to unlearn, that you don't have to have a heavy starch with every meal, and you also don't have to have meat with every meal. Like obviously there's a ton of vegetarians out there that are like, oh yeah, we've known that forever. I'm just adding the minced garlic. But I have to be really careful to make sure it doesn't burn, so keep an eye on it. I think I'll add the chicken at the same time. But as a kid, I do remember having like a lot of chili, a ton of spaghetti, to the point where my older brother Jonathan can't eat spaghetti anymore because we had it way too much. Like I don't even think he has red sauce on anything anymore. We really try to avoid having potato side or a rice side. That was something we used to have all the time.
Hey, guess what?
What?
I just got accepted into the extras program at PSU.
You did? Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Thanks.
When does it start?
Fall.
Whoa. Do I go on camera? I think you're right there. My bag isn't blocking you. That's great. I'm gonna come get Bruce, don't block me. That's awesome.
Yeah. I got Dr. my advisor too because I asked for him.
Oh, that's awesome. That's who you wanted, right?
Yeah.
And that was soon. That was like, what, 2 weeks ago you applied?
Last Thursday.
Oh, wow. Because they said it would take up to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I also wonder if a lot of people aren't even applying right now.
Yeah, I wonder.
Which obviously doesn't take anything away from you getting accepted, but for them to respond so quickly.
Yeah, right? Isn't that crazy?
Oh, you're doing electrical engineering again, right?
Yeah.
That's what his bachelor's is in, so he gets to further his education. So I put the chicken in right after the minced garlic. So I think this is good, and I think because the onions are getting translucent now, I think we're good to go to add the broth. Let's see, yeah, I can do it one-handed. Broth. I'm gonna start out with this big box and see how much more we need. I always make really brothy soups and stews. For a master's, it's just taking classes, right?
Yeah, there is a thesis option, but I'm not really interested in doing that.
I wouldn't want to do it either, because don't you have to like defend it too?
I think
or is
so.
that something else?
Well, yeah, you do have a thesis defense for your PhD. I'm not sure how much different the master's is, but from my impression, you would want to do a master's thesis if you were going to pursue your PhD.
Because then you can just build off of it?
Yeah, exactly.
That is the finished product. Well, not finished product, it still needs the noodles. I think I'm going to keep these roses that Casey got us. They're doing really well, like the petals haven't fallen. These are those roses. Got them from, focus please. Hello. There he goes, is that focus? I don't know. We got them from Noah's coworker. He is a vegetarian, was homesick with his fiance for... Oh, are they married now? Oh, I thought they were still fiancés. My bad. I think their kids were sick or something, or they were sick and they were home for Valentine's Day and couldn't do anything. So he surprised her by getting flowers and then getting some food delivered. So I really hope that's not a real cough. It was funny, the food delivery that they got was like New Seasons or whatever. They messed up their order and gave them free, like huge, expensive steaks. So since are they vegetarian or vegan? They're vegan. What Casey did was like, hey, we got this stuff delivered on accident. Do you want it? Because you know, you're not gonna return that to New Seasons. So Casey gave it to us. Noah just picked it up from their house because they weren't feeling well. This is before the coronavirus stuff, or like, and then Casey gave us like 2 little flowers. They also gave us some like random beers that they also had, which was really nice because Valentine's Day snuck up on us this year. We didn't plan anything for it. That was really nice that we were able to make Valentine's Day stuff at home with this fancy New Seasons meats, all that. So it was a really nice Valentine's Day. I think we just stayed home and we made dinner and watched a movie and stuff. So usually when I buy roses, petals will start falling off, but these have done really well. So I think I'm gonna keep them and I'm gonna put them on our shelves. Maybe I should put them up somewhere. Oh my gosh, look at all these cobwebs. That's nice. Do you like that?
Yeah.
So I'll just put him right there. Kind of falling apart, this little guy here. He doesn't look like our other palm. Feels really dry, but I feel like it's so easy to overwater. Have you felt this guy? He feels so dry. But I'm so scared to like overwater him
Oh.
Maybe we should give him that plant food. Yeah, those roses look nice though. I wish we had more plants. I really like our snake plant here. Don't look at all the dust. Bruce makes our whole house dusty. You got this stuff?
I got the stuff.
Do you just do like one pump?
Yeah, directly to soil. 1 pump for small pots, 2 pumps for larger pots.
Was that something? Oh, is it stuck?
It's not pumping. I spun it the wrong way.
That'll do it.
You can edit this out.
Make sure you get it over the pot ledge.
Oh, it's still not opening.
I hear it clicking. There's a cover on it.
You can edit that out.
Other guys need plant food?
I kind of want to give some to my nephew.
Can you give one to this little guy? Just the littlest, like not even. This guy was transplanted from here.
Or the
These aloes I have in the house from years ago. Noah was out of town for work and I decided to, I was buying a lot of plants and stuff, and those were the only ones that survived. Okay, good boy, you did so nice, bud. Thank you. Still haven't finished. I will when I'm starting to feel better. That's Noah's plant from work.
He's beautiful.
He is beautiful.
I need a bigger pot.
Yeah, did you want to replant that guy? So I'm gonna let this cook and then I'll add the egg noodles to it, and I might catch up with you guys later if I remember to. I'm gonna add some of these noodles now. My voice is going crazy. I'm just gonna add that amount for what we're gonna have right now. For this soup in particular and these types of noodles, they will get mushy if you leave them in overnight. So your best bet is once you have like your initial batch and then you have that, when you go to refrigerate this, make sure there's no noodles in here. They just get kind of mushy. Like, it's not terrible if there's only a few, but if you put in that entire bag of noodles, then that's not gonna taste good at all. So make sure that you get as many noodles out as possible, and then the next time that you go to have your leftovers, you're gonna want to do fresh noodles. I think we're almost ready. This is the finished product. See the egg noodles? These are the best noodles to get. Are you guys proud of me? I finally got a picture of the finished product before I destroyed it. Noah's accepting his master's application.
My decision is accept. I'm clicking the submit button. I'm confirming.
Done?
Done.
You're a master now.
No, I am potentially a master. I'm given the opportunity to become a master.
Whoa. On a scale 1 to 10, how happy are you right now?
I'm pretty excited.
That's not a scale 1 to 10.
I'd say like a 7, because the other 3 points, I have to do a lot of homework and study.
You're nervous
Yeah.
from being back in school again?
Yeah.
Because what year? We graduated 2015?
2016.
2016. Officially.
Well, no, I think you finished in 2015.
Yeah, I finished all my classes. I think the last class I had to take was microbiology that fall. And
Yeah.
that was my last class. And then you had a couple more classes after that. Because Noah participated in a engineering, I'm losing the word for it. It's like an internship program.
It's an engineering co-op program.
So pushed out his graduation during his last 2 years of school. They do 2 6-month internships. People would probably be like, why would you do that instead of just finishing your degree?
They're paid.
They're paid, and they're paid pretty well, I think.
And the schools support them. It's a co-op between students, the schools, and the industries. The schools are supportive. And
How many people participate?
I don't have an exact number, but through the whole program, like 500?
That's a lot.
Not just electrical engineers, but mechanical, civil, chemical. They're also expanding the program for some more business and
Oh, business?
I think there was even like an advertising major last year at a couple companies.
That would make sense because in this area you have Intel, Google's coming down here. There's a bunch of other huge businesses that are known globally. What are the other big ones that participate in MECOP? Boeing?
Yeah, Daimler. Those are
The bigger companies. And I think it's good that they have those programs because now, like obviously you're getting your master's. I think people who are getting their bachelor's, the opportunity to get experience in the field is more important than just a bachelor's piece of paper.
I learned so much on those internships.
So much applicable stuff. Also references. I feel like having references is really important.
Oh, yeah.
For my job, I do the second round of interviews for our candidates, and I feel like I care more about experience than I do about whatever kind of degree that they have. Over the years, we've hired people from all sorts of backgrounds. One of the other data managers that I work with, he was a history major, but this is the first kind of job that he's had in the science field, which has some difficulties. I think for him, it's like more of a learning curve of the scientific terms and stuff. And I feel like it's similar in a lot of jobs as long as you're trainable and as long as you're like moldable, I feel like that's the most important thing. This soup is really good.
It is.
I got myself a big bowl, but I'm not really, like, I guess I'm hungry, but I'm kind of not. I think I'm just eating to eat.
Didn't have a whole lot yesterday.
Just red things.
Yeah.
All red food. Noah got, it's like Kool-Aid Jello packs. Oh my God, it was so good. And then red popsicles. That's all I ate when I got home was that red Jello and popsicles. I think we're gonna have this, and then we're gonna watch the Tiger King documentary, which I'm stoked on. I'm seeing everybody post about it online. This guy is very like charismatic looking and kind of over the top with his bleach blonde mullet and stuff.
I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah. I'm gonna finish my soup. Congratulations to you.
Thanks.
I'll talk to you guys later.